We have a couple of polls. So if you're sitting in a conference room, maybe with other people around the table, try to make sure that someone has access to the computer mouse so that you can vote in the polls, or if you're watching this on an iPad or on an iPhone, make sure that you keep that GoToMeeting app open so that you can vote. Everyone will receive a link to the recording of the webinar, usually 2 to 3 business days after the webinar takes place. Today we are moderated by myself. I'm Justin Foster, one of the founders of LiveClicker and manage market development, and Kathy O'Callahan, who's Director of Marketing at Turn2 Networks. We love it when our webinar participants tweet about the webinar. If you learn anything useful today, please do share it with the wider world using hashtag #ecommerce tools. If you'd like to follow any of the webinar participants today, you can follow LiveClicker and Turn2 here, as well as blinds.com. Myself or Kathy, you can see all of our Twitter handles there. To give everyone a little bit of an extra incentive to tweet, we run a Twitter contest. If you've ever been on webinar, at least that LiveClicker's been involved in the past, we give away 2 free $50 Apple gift cards to anyone. We're going to randomly pick someone that is tweeting using the hashtag #ecommerce tools. So tweet, tweet, tweet. You'll increase your chances of winning one of those gift cards. We have to get our plug slides out of the way at the beginning. Promise this isn't going to be too bad, but just a quick intro to LiveClicker. LiveClicker provides a video platform that's used by many of the web's leading retailers. In fact, more top 500 Internet retailers use LiveClicker to power video on their sites and across the web than any other video technology provider. From production through conversion, LiveClicker is the video platform that delivers results. I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Kathy here, who will just mention a few brief words about Turn2. Kathy?
Thanks, Justin. Hello, everyone, and welcome to our webinar today. Just a brief intro for those of you not familiar with Turn2. Our social Q&A platform enables shoppers to submit product questions on the product page and get answers fast from the store's past customers. These are customers who really bought the item. In addition, it can serve as a great answer tool for the store's customer service staff to use as well. We work with a wide range of retailers and brands, and here is an abbreviated list of our customers that use the Turn2 social Q&A platform today.
Awesome. Thanks, Kathy.
Thank you.
So now, the real reason that everyone is here today to hear from our experts, Karen Hansen and Robert Reed. Karen, would you go ahead and introduce yourself briefly to the audience?
Sure. Hello, everyone. I'm really happy to be here today. I'm the digital product manager for the Vitamin Shoppe. We're a specialty retailer with around 18,000 different products. We sell supplements to help people sort of improve their general health and wellness.
Great, thanks so much. And Robert?
Good morning. Hello, everybody. My name is Robert Reed. I'm the video producer with blinds.com. I've been with blinds.com since 2004 and have actively been involved with video production here since 2007. And the majority of content I generally produce would be related to products and things like that, installation, measuring. But I also do other types of videos related to public relations, human resources, and other types of video content that highlight our corporate culture here. And blinds.com has about 150 employees and is the largest online retailer of window coverings in the world.
Great. Thanks so much, Robert. I'm going to go ahead and turn it to Kathy now. We're going to run our first poll of the day.
Okay, everybody. Here's our first poll, as Justin just referenced. Question, are you considering adding Q&A to your product pages in 2013? Yes, no, or already have?
Great, and we'll leave the poll open just for about 30 seconds here to give folks a chance to vote. 55% in. Pretty active. 57%. Come on, can we hit 80?
Come on.
Can we do it? Come on, people. Hopefully those of you on the West Coast have had some coffee already.
How are we looking?
We're at 70%. I think we're going to go ahead and we're going to stop it here. And I'll share the results and we can talk about them, Kathy.
Okay, well first, thanks for participating in poll number 1. And what do we have? 42% say yes, considering adding 33 no, and 25% already have. Good. Thanks for the participation. Now,
Everyone should be looking at why social Q&A right now. Do you have that on
I
your
see
screen,
the
Kathy?
poll.
Go ahead and click the little hide button in your console.
Here we go. Why social Q&A? So as Justin mentioned at the beginning, and then Karen so graciously introduced herself, I'm going to be spending the next several minutes speaking with Karen specifically from the Vitamin Shoppe, and Karen is going to be sharing the Vitamin Shoppe's perspective on social Q&A and how it's working for them. Hello, and thanks again for joining us, Karen.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Why don't we just jump right in and get started, as I'm sure the audience is excited to hear the Vitamin Shoppe's perspective.
Sounds good.
So, first of all, Karen, why did the Vitamin Shoppe choose Q&A?
Well, so exactly like you have on the slide, it basically helps all our shoppers. It provides a lot of unique content for us that really helps SEO. What we were originally looking for was sort of a conversational piece, a human element to our site. And because our assortment is so huge, it's very hard for people to decide what to buy when they're buying for their health. So in our case, sometimes peers is sort of a preferred trusted source rather than the retailer or the manufacturer. We used to have a community on our site because we wanted to provide this, but unfortunately it left a lot of questions unanswered. And so engagement sort of declined, and we were hoping that Turn2 would help us improve that situation. So we switched over to that.
Okay.
On top of that, we also are heavily regulated by the FDA. There's a lot of words that we're unable to use on our site or to use in the stores when we speak to the customers. Like we can't mention disease states, for example, like cancer, diabetes, psoriasis. But this Q&A feature allows users to talk to each other in everyday language and say some of these things. And that is really useful sort of almost as product information on our site. And again, it really helps SEO.
Okay, no, thanks, Karen. It's interesting that Vitamin Shoppe recognizes wanting to add that human element piece to the website as well. We're hearing that a lot lately for the last several months.
Yeah, I can understand that.
Yeah, so you already have reviews. Why the need for Q&A as well?
Because they are significantly different in our eyes. We don't see the two as mutually exclusive at all. They provide different services to the customers. In terms of Q&A, it was really strategic on our side. The user-generated content accumulates a lot faster in Q&A than it does in reviews. And from sort of a user perspective, it's a lot more relevant to the individual user. They basically get near real-time answers to their own questions. They're not just reading what someone else has chosen to broadcast. There's a real conversation going on.
Okay. And what types of conversations are you seeing, and how are these conversations benefiting your shoppers, do you think?
Well, I'd say more the type of questions that we're seeing. It matches sort of our research a lot. We get a lot of questions about what the products benefit, what the side effects are, that kind of thing. Some of these things are, again, things that we're unable to answer by our employees, but other customers will be able to, you know, go back and forth with them and provide some useful feedback.
No, that's good stuff. Thanks. You know, it's good to hear how the social Q&A is serving a specific purpose over there for the Vitamin Shoppe, given the products that you sell, and of course the community. And it's interesting in general is what Turn2 is finding. Well, the majority of our customers also have reviews, and as you mentioned earlier, you know, that they have different, you know, values, if you will, and that everyone believes that the Q&A is another valuable tool that the shopper needs to make an informed purchase decision. people shop differently and has that own set of value there.
Absolutely.
Advanced slide, please. So talk to us a little bit about the interactivity of social Q&A actually on your product page.
Sure. It basically gives the shopper something to do. They can ask and read previous dialogue on the product page. Besides just exploring descriptions from the manufacturers, reading the customer reviews. It also provides the shoppers with valuable information, including more sort of product details and opinions from other shoppers. I think the feature that one of the features that I like a lot is, you know, when you post a question, it goes out in an email to the other customers, and our customers can basically have sort of one-to-one email communication. It does get displayed on the product page, but it feels like a personal conversation to some extent. If they get an answer that they like, there's a link in the email back to the product page that will help them complete their purchase. So that's been really useful to us.
Yeah, so it's funny, you and I didn't really talk about that, but I got to tell you, I love that as well. I love when I see the back and forth email conversation that appears on the product page, and you know, that shopper being able to ask that follow-up question and the customer accommodating. And for me, it's the equivalent to being in a store and, you know, standing next to somebody, and then we're both looking at the same product, and if I find out they've actually bought the product, well, then I'm one of those people that I'm going to ask them a million questions.
Right.
But it's bringing that, you know, in-store experience, and it's kind of funny that we both feel the same about that one part of the process there.
Right.
Advanced slide, please. So the happy feature slide, Karen, I just think this is great. So recently, speaking with a member of your team, he coined our checkout comment feature the happy feature, which again, it's great. But I would love for you to share with the folks here today what checkout comments is and how it works for the Vitamin Shop.
Sure. I like the happy feature too. We implemented it based on a recommendation from Turn2, where we basically asked the question, why did you choose this product on the order confirmation page? So at this point, people have basically found a reason to make the purchase. They're happy about the success of completing the purchase. We haven't interrupted their, you know, their sort of workflow, and at this point, they're usually really happy to share a lot of positive comments. So we were basically really amazed at how rapidly we accumulated user-generated content from this feature. It's moving actually a lot faster than the rest, which is already moving pretty fast. So yeah, we're all happy.
That's hot. So I think almost every one of our customers, but maybe two, don't have the checkout comments turned on. But everyone, that's what they're saying. You know, a lot of the customers find checkout comments to be what you said, an amazing content generator. And you know, being on the road at conferences, folks we meet and talk to, they just love it. It's simple but super powerful.
Right.
Advanced slide, please. So about the numbers, the Vitamin Shop, you've been live with Turn2 Social Q&A for about 6 months, and from where we sit over here at Turn2, the numbers look good to us, and the Q&A is doing what it's supposed to be doing. One, creating the content, which is indexable for the search engines, and increasing conversion in a pretty solid turnaround time. Can you share with what the reception has been internally thus far over there at the Vitamin Shop?
Yeah. I guess like someone said to me yesterday, anything over the baseline is always welcome. I guess more detail than that I can't really share, but we're generally very happy.
Okay. Great. Thank you. Karen, thanks so much for sharing the Vitamin Shop social Q&A success. It's really good stuff. Thank you.
Anytime. Thank you.
Advanced slide, please.
Thanks. All right, thanks, Kathy, and thanks, Karen. We're going to go ahead and switch now from Q&A to the video portion of today's webinar. We're going to start off just as we did with Q&A, asking a question about video. So everyone, grab your mouse and vote in our poll. Tell us how many videos do you currently have on your site right now? Less than 10, 11 to 50, 51 to 250, 251 to 500, or how many of us are in that over 500 camp? We have 53% of us have voted so far. We'll go ahead and leave the poll open for about another 10 minutes. We're over 60% now. Come on, guys. We know you can do it. Some of you might be multitasking. Just click on that little blue flower icon and vote in the poll. All right, we've got 67% in, 69% in, 71. That's probably pretty good. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to close the poll, and I'm going to share the results. So this is great. I'm really glad that we have a lot of people that are on the webinar today that don't really have a lot of videos on their site today. 39% of us have less than 10 videos on our site. This is pretty typical. We see a lot of e-commerce organizations. They're either just getting started with video, maybe trying to find a way to scale up video, or just trying to see what kind of value video can add to the shopping experience. And so I think we'll all really benefit from hearing Robert talk a little bit about what it is that Blinds.com has been able to do with video. So Robert, are you unmuted and ready to have a conversation?
I sure am.
All right. Why don't we go ahead and start off, and can you just help us understand, why video? What was the value of video at Blinds.com? How did you really make the decision to get started with video? And yeah, maybe just walk us through that process.
Sure. Well, in our case, in the case of a window covering company like ourselves, we actually deal with a product that it's pretty difficult in some ways to really visualize. You have, not only do you have a product that people aren't familiar with generally, there's a lot of choices for that particular product, and those products will look different based on the type of window they might be in. So there's a lot of variation there. And then in addition to that, in our particular site, we offer a lot of customizations. In fact, everything we provide for our customers is custom made. And so a customer will need to get over any fear they may have of taking measurements on their own and supplying us that information, as well as choosing different types of options for a product. So they're dealing with an unfamiliar product, an unfamiliar process, and in many cases unfamiliar options that might benefit their purchase by making their product much better than they realized it might be. So there's a lot of things that a video, in our case, we think can communicate to a customer that might not be obvious to them from the beginning.
Got it. So it sounds like a huge part of it is just making the purchase simpler. It seems like video really simplifies it.
That's correct. In fact, our goal ultimately is to make the experience of buying window covering surprisingly easy and exciting, which is a big goal, but we think that that's something that can and should be done, and so the video does play a big part of that.
Got it. And it looks here like we'll talk a little bit more about this in a while, but you have been able to prove the value of video in terms of being able to correlate it with product sales and conversions on the site?
Yes.
That's great. We do have a few questions that are coming in from our audience, and again, I really want to encourage everyone to use the questions and answers box. We've got a question from John, Yusuf, and Thomas. We'll try to get to those questions at the end, so please do continue to pass your questions to us using the Q&A box. Now we're here talking about e-commerce tools, so video is kind of the medium, and then you have to have a tool really to publish and distribute video. Can you help us understand, Robert, why LiveClicker? I mean, I think Blinds.com was using video before LiveClicker. Why was the decision made to implement the LiveClicker video commerce platform?
Sure. Well, we actually started with I would just call it a generic hosting service that we used to use when we started doing video back in 2007. And since we were just starting at that time, and for a period of time after that, we didn't really need anything very sophisticated because A, I don't believe there was anything in the market at that time that actually provided much detail, but B, we really didn't have a lot of content to put out there. So it wasn't something that we really focused on initially. We just wanted to get some content out to the customer. But we did notice after a period of time that we really did want to see more information related to, who's seeing this content? Is this content useful? Are people actually staying engaged with the content? And are they referring this content to maybe other people? And could they even provide us feedback? So these were all things that were not available to us through the other provider. And so we saw these as being things that we really wanted to focus on providing for the customer, but also for ourselves as far as additional features.
Got it.
And so Live Clicker was the one that we kind of decided on after a lot of evaluation of other platforms out there in the service area that we were looking at.
Got it. So it sounds like really analytics was a key part of it, just gaining a better understanding of how shoppers were engaging with video.
That's right.
So like the screenshot that we're looking at here shows like revenue associated with videos. Has that been important to you, like being able to associate, dollars per play or how much revenue is being generated by people that are watching videos? Is that something that is important to your business?
Oh, it's very important. I mean, I'm sure every e-commerce company would say that's a very important part of their business, and we need to know, really what kind of return are we getting on this investment. It's a sizable investment. We want to make sure that the customers are seeing the value as well, because whether or not they actually buy every time they come to the site, they actually might be returning and looking at more content. So in addition to the additional revenue it provides, we also feel like there's a lot of return customers that will come to our site because we are now the experts in their mind, which will lead to a purchase down the road. And
Got it.
we do see, with the metrics that are available to us, we can actually see how many people are staying engaged with the content, whether it be 10 seconds for half of the video duration or even the full duration of the video. Are they engaged, and are they getting some value from their viewing experience?
I understand. How about distribution? Is that something that's been important, being able to publish video in multiple channels quickly?
Yeah.
And what about production time savings? Has there been any benefit in terms of just getting content up more quickly?
Absolutely. Yeah, as I was mentioning earlier with the previous provider, everything was a manual process. And if you were trying to put a particular piece of video in several places on your site, you're going to have to upload multiple versions of that and associate it with different areas. Live Clicker is really great in that it allows a centralized management system for all of your content. You can upload 1 or 50 pieces of content, tag everything, label everything, provide links, all types of features that are built into the player that allow you to connect that content to other content on your site and do it almost immediately. And in addition to not just your site, but to other sites. So, for example, if I wanted to send out information to YouTube and post it there and to Facebook, but maybe not 2 or 3 other sites that we might use for other purposes, I can selectively send out that content to a number of channels instantaneously.
I understand. And how about production time? Is this something that is, have there been any benefits just in terms of speeding video production at all?
Well, the actual creation of the content is about the same in that it's kind of the process which is outside of Live Clicker. But as far as the creation of the content once it's uploaded into the system, it's much, much faster. As I mentioned before, in the past, each individual piece of video had to be dealt with separately. Whereas with Live Clicker, there's a lot of batch features that allow you to tag things, to categorize things, to identify information, and you can do it across multiple video sources instantaneously at the same time. And that's really important because, I mean, if you're dealing with a lot of content, things need to be changed or removed, that's all part of that process. And so it does save quite a bit of time.
Got it. Yeah, I think we didn't talk about this beforehand, but when we were speaking the other week, we were talking about these product in motion videos, and I was sort of thinking about the idea of doing kind of these like the still image capture compared to like video image capture. I thought that you'd said one of the things that was a benefit was just the production time savings there.
Oh, well, in that particular case, yes. What you're referring to is the type of feature that Live Clicker provides, which is termed as 360. In our case, we refer to it as a product in motion, in that some ways we actually implement that as a product that actually might move, but not necessarily in a circular fashion. But that's basically the same process that one might use for a 360, where they take a series of photographs. They take all those photographs, they stitch them together, create a video from that, and then upload it. One of the things Live Clicker does is provide a built-in feature called 360. And whether it be a circular motion or whether it be some kind of a movement, basically you film maybe a 10 or 15-second bit of video that has this movement, and then you can instantly upload that video into the Live Clicker system, and it will generate a scrubbable video which you can actually go backward, forward on manually, and you don't have to really do anything other than just upload that content and say this is a 360 video. And that's really cool because customers can really interact with that type of a video, and that's a unique selling feature, I think.
Great. Tell us a little bit about video feedback. It was really interesting. We were talking about in the Q&A portion of this presentation about the importance of user-generated content. How have you been able to incorporate user feedback with video?
Well, one of the features Live Clicker came out with a few months back is the ability to comment on every video that we have, for example, on our site, in addition to rating them. So it's great to see ratings because that's really important, but the comments are really helpful because you can really get a sense of whether or not someone's finding that this is a difficult video for them to understand, if this video is helpful to them, if it's useful, if there's something about a video that maybe created an expectation that wasn't met. As an example, we actually had some feedback about a particular video that was kind of a lower response as far as the positive responses. And as I looked at the content of what they were saying, they basically expected it to be a different type of video based on the title that we had given it.
Got it.
And so what we did was change that information, and then the customer understood what to expect when they clicked on that video, and the satisfaction level increased because they then understood that this is the type of video that this is. Sometimes when you create something, you don't realize how other people are going to see it or expect to see it, and that really helps.
Got it. So it sounds like it really, it helps you actually just with the video production process in general, so you know how to produce
Absolutely.
videos. That's great. So we are almost out of time here, so I just wanted to briefly go through some of the things that you're seeing at blinds.com. It sounds like you have over 250 videos on the site today, 60 to 70,000 video views per month. I think one of the really interesting data points that we talked about was that 16% of all the revenue that you're seeing at blinds.com comes from people that have seen a video on the website. So that seems to be a pretty positive indication for the value that video is providing. Would you agree?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it's wonderful that if you can pull out that information, which, for example, Live Clicker will provide to you, you can quickly see which of your videos are higher performing, which ones are actually leading to revenue, which are being viewed as part of your checkout process. So you know that people are actually getting assurance, which helps them feel confident when they make purchases, which increase purchases. And then, of course, the playthrough rates and things like that also really help you understand the value as well. So we're seeing a lot of revenue associated with the videos. The videos are associated with a higher average order value, which is really great to see. And so as we move forward, we know we're doing the right thing as opposed to just putting things out there that may not make a difference.
Got it. Thank you so much, Robert. I want to encourage everyone, before we announce the winners of our Twitter contest, tweet with e-commerce tools. That's our hashtag. Again, we're going to be announcing a winner here momentarily. We are finished right at exactly 11 o'clock Pacific time to Eastern. Thank you so much to Karen and to Robert. We do have a few questions. Again, if you have additional questions, we encourage you to pass your questions through to us. But before we get to the questions, we're going to go ahead and announce our Twitter winners. Our Twitter winners are, drum roll, at Thomas Murray and at Central Vacuum. So if you are Thomas Murray or Central Vacuum, congratulations. You have won a $50 gift card to the Apple Store. Thank you for tweeting and participating in our Twitter contest today. We have a few questions. Kathy, why don't we go ahead and start with you and Karen. We have a question for how much support staff is required to support Vitamin Shoppe's Q&A.
Yep. So, so specifically, how much support staff does it take to support Vitamin Shoppe's Q&A? Karen?
So right now we only have one person in our direct marketing group looking over sort of the general questions. If there are questions for customer care, there is an option to choose to send the question to customer care. Right. So we basically have both those groups involved. but it's not a high number of people that are needed at all.
And part of that is because of the advanced moderation filters that the Vitamin Shoppe put in place.
Right.
You know, and with the advanced but flexible system, and what Vitamin Shoppe chose to do is, you know, let most of the questions and answers just run through based on the filter requirements that you put in place in the back end there. And
Exactly.
by only having that one person, or as you said, when you submit a question, it's either going out to the past customer or to the staff, that help reroutes and allows less people to be there to manage it, I'm thinking, right?
Yes, exactly.
Okay,
Exactly.
good. I'm glad that's working for you.
So this next one, we'll flip the video for Robert. Thomas asks about vendor videos. I think the question is, you know, what is the difference from your perspective on how effective vendor videos are compared to videos that you're shooting in-house? And Thomas, if I haven't phrased that correctly, please do feel free to chime back in on the Q&A. But Robert, what is your perspective on vendor videos?
Well, on a couple of fronts, I can give you some responses. One is, I think vendor videos are fantastic because the vendors, of course, are going to know their product in greater detail than just about anybody. So they're generally going to give you some really good information, and it's also going to lessen the burden on me, for example, as far as producing videos for over a couple hundred products. So we can always add in additional content, and we can modify it. So if a vendor has a video that's maybe a little bit long, you know, we can just maybe actually edit those lengthier parts out that aren't relevant to what we're trying to communicate. But I think vendor videos are just wonderful. The negative would only be because maybe the duration, again, may be a little bit longer than we're used to showing, which is 1.5 to 2 minutes in duration. But again, we can usually work with any content and get something usable out of that.
Got it. Do you find that some vendor videos are overly promotional, or is that not really an issue in your industry?
No, that's true, they do. And in fact, when I was mentioning earlier about one of the comments we were getting about our videos is they actually were kind of going in expecting a certain type of content, but then the responses I'm seeing on the comments and the feedback is that this is really just a promotion or just a commercial. And so what we can then do is communicate that to the vendors so that maybe on additional videos they provide us in the future, they'll know that that's what customers are thinking about the content they're producing, that they're not finding the value that you would think they would be.
I see. I see. Okay, we have one more question here for Karen, I think. This is from Yusuf, and this was with regard to the happy feature, the post checkout comments. He asked, where do you add this content? Where does it actually display?
It displays on the product detail page. So we have, you know, on our product detail page we have several tabs, you know, regular product information, supplement facts, and then there's a Q&A tab, so that's where it goes.
Great.
And so, Justin, just to elaborate on that, it's under the customer Q&A tab as Karen referenced, and you know, at the top it's usually it's as part of the Q&A is they ask you know, why did you choose this, coming from the Vitamin Shoppe, and then it just scrolls all the answers there, which are you know, checkout comments. And the checkout comments is just part of our entire checkout chatter product, where there's 4 different pieces to it. So this seems to be the one that is resonating currently with everyone.
Right.
That's
Thanks,
great.
Todd.
One final quick question for Karen and for Robert. What e-commerce platforms are the Vitamin Shoppe and Blinds.com using today? Karen, why don't you take that first?
We're on HCG.
HCG. How about you, Robert?
You know, actually, I'm not familiar with that at the moment, so I'll have to get back with you on that.
Okay. No problem. So a couple of notes before we wrap. Again, if you do want to follow anyone on Twitter, we have our Twitter handles right here. Want to let everyone know about the LiveClicker Video Commerce Summit. It's taking place in San Francisco, July 25th and 26th. It is the largest event anywhere devoted to advancing the use of video in e-commerce. This year we've partnered with video marketing expert Real SEO. We're expecting over 300 people to come and spend 2 real, you know, full action-packed days learning about online video, how organizations are using video to create value. So We do have an early bird special going on right now. If you're at all interested in signing up for the summit, I do strongly encourage you to sign up soon, because if you wait too long, then the price actually does go up quite a bit for the summit. We're going to have, there's just a great speaker lineup already, and the event's going to be about twice as big as it was last year. If you'd like to contact Turn 2, we have contact information here. You can follow at Turn 2. The Turn 2 blog is at turn2networks.com/blog. Live clicker, contact information here. Again, really want to extend our thanks to Robert and to Karen. We really appreciate your time. Thank you for all the knowledge that you've been able to share with us today. It's been tremendously valuable. I've learned a lot personally just listening to both of you talk about your experiences with social Q&A and video. Thank you to everyone who has taken time out of their busy day to be with us today, and have a great day.
Thank you. Thank you, Justin. Thank you, everyone.
The organizer has ended the session, and this call